Are you mentally ill? Are you mentally ill?
People who think Planned Parenthood is so great it needs subsidies? And gentlemen, hello Shirley, I see the years have not been kind. May I make a suggestion? Put the snot rag back on your face. Thanks. This video will not be about the immoral aspects of abortion, but I'm going to attack Shirley's illogical arguments from an economic and philosophical perspective. I will also ask that all comments be on topic. In other words, do not come over here and begin talking about global warming or the housing crisis or making generalized, whining, sniping comments, or you'll be gone. Thank you. Let's begin. The first item that jumped out at me, other than Shirley's appearance, was the lack of info under the video. Surely it would make it easier for users if you actually linked to the material. That is a pretty elementary task. I remember a pretend doctor friend of yours had a bad habit of making things up and then ironically not linking to her material. This is something kids learn in middle school. Don't worry, Shirley. I did your homework for you, little man. One of the themes of Shirley's video is extolling the virtues of Planned Parenthood. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's awesome. The world would not survive without it. It's so great it needs subsidies. Shirley paints herself into a corner. Herself, himself, I'm not sure, but arguing that not much of PP's budget comes from forced taxpayer subsidies, but also whines when various state legislatures and governors cut it off from taxpayer subsidies. So which is it? Shirley's argument is fatally flawed. Let's use this example. Shirley, you desperately need Botox, but I'm not going to subsidize it. Instead, I'll pay for your groceries. Paying for that will free up funds for you to spend on that Botox you need so badly. If Planned Parenthood subsidies amount to squat, then they should be able to survive without them and run off of free will donations and self-generated revenue. So much for that silly argument. You and your ilk are constantly whining about this and that needing funding because you live off of taxpayer funding forced from someone else's pocket. But you never ask if it actually does any good. Let's look at Planned Parenthood's funding and Title 10 funding, see how it's trending. As per usual, I have all the relevant links underneath the video. I would also like to mention Jeremy Oyer put me up to this. Planned Parenthood received $363.2 million in government grants and contracts during its 2008-2009 fiscal year, according to the organization's annual report. That was up from $349.6 million in fiscal year 2007-2008, according to a fact sheet on Planned Parenthood's website. The organization performed 324,008 abortions in calendar year 2008. That was up from 305,310 in 2007 and 289,750 in 2006. The bulk of Planned Parenthood's expenditures are contraception and treatment of STDs. Has nothing to do with mammograms. Well, it does, but not nearly as much. It's not doing much good, as I will elucidate shortly. Far less than 1/5 of their expenditures are actually related to screening for and preventing things like breast cancer. Title 10 funding has seen its funding more than double since 1992, but that's not all, folks. It never is. If we look at federal expenditures for, quote, payments to states for foster care / adoption assistance, unquote, and, quote, family and other support assistance, unquote, those are in inflation adjusted dollars and have been well above the rate of inflation, as you can see. Now if we go look at federal spending for, quote, family support payments to states and TANF, temporary assistance for needy families, unquote, and, quote, payments to states for daycare assistance, unquote, and payments to states for foster care / adoption assistance, guess what? This is in millions of dollars, and again, all the links are below. You can check this information out for yourself if you don't believe me. I find it funny that people like you, Shirley, are always crying for more funding, You have no idea concerning the levels of that funding, but we need more. There's always more. Federal outlays concerning payments to individuals is more than 7 times the rate of inflation since 1970. All this government knows how to do is redistribute income from one class of citizens to another, from rich to poor, via massive and failed welfare programs, federal welfare programs that is, and from everyone else to a slew of corporate rent seekers. Now, this is the big question, Shirley. I've already elucidated for you and your mentally deficient followers. All this spending is not reducing the number of abortions. In fact, this welfare state has been counterproductive. Does it surprise you that Hispanics and especially blacks are aborted far more often than whites? Why is that, Shirley? Surely you know the answer to that question. Blacks are a key Democrat constituency. You're killing your voters. How's that working out? Does it surprise you, Shirley, that despite all this contraception being handed out, taxpayer funded or not, more and more unmarried women are getting pregnant when they don't intend to? Does it surprise you that despite all this, blacks and Hispanics are having a higher percentage of children out of wedlock now and aborting more of their children now than before the welfare state took off under LBJ? Hello? McFly? Is anyone home? Are you listening? Have you looked at any of these stats? Have you ever considered that this is counterproductive? You could give these people a new house, enough condoms for them, their children, and grandchildren, they would piss it away. It's obvious this is not working. I would never keep someone from exercising their freedom when they turn 18, of course, to have consensual sexual intercourse with anyone they want, but they have to pay the price for it and take responsibility for their actions. Knowing that the government, i.e. the taxpayer, is going to bail you out only encourages this. If you subsidize poverty, Shirley, don't be surprised when you have a lot of poverty. A few more items to cover quickly. Planned Parenthood has been nailed on numerous occasions for willingly covering up statutory rape. They were attempting to cover up pregnancies in girls 15 or younger, impregnated by a man in his 20s or even as old as his 30s. There's been a lot of sting videos as well where the leftists have just gone bonkers because of Lila Rose, and live action films have nailed Planned Parenthood many times, willingly covering up a statutory rape. Planned Parenthood often fights against parental consent laws. They don't give a damn about the parents. They're more than willing to circumvent that. Shirley might retort that most Planned Parenthood workers do things by the book, and that's probably true. But you may recall a phony doctor friend of yours going bonkers over Catholic priests who molest little boys. I'd wager that over 99% of all Catholic priests in the world don't molest children. I doubt your friend, the phony Dr. McStupid, will use the same reasoning when examining Planned Parenthood workers who cover up statutory rape. Will you use the same reasoning, Shirley? We'll see. It shouldn't surprise anyone that all this funding isn't enough for Hussein Obama. He wants more free condoms, more subsidized abortion, but doesn't want any funding for the only method that works every time it's tried, abstinence. For the record, I don't think sex education is a state task. That's something left to the parents, and if they can't do that, they should probably abstain from sexual intercourse themselves. Now, our last piece of business. Shirley was very adamant during her poor video presentation that no taxpayer funds were being used for abortions. Aside from the holes I poked in her pathetic logic, federal taxpayers are funding abortions on college campuses. In July 2010, Students for Life of America was informed that the University of North Carolina system had a new mandate on health care coverage for the 2010-2011 school year. The UNC system required its students to have health care and automatically enrolled them in a plan that covered elective abortions. Following the discoveries at UNC, Students for Life researched the 200 largest universities in the U.S. to see how similar their plans were to North Carolina's plan. SFLA looked at A, if the school required health care, B, if they automatically charged a student's account for health care, C, if the school offered a school-sponsored health care plan, and D, if the school-sponsored health care plan covered elective abortions. SFLA found out that of the 200 schools researched, 67 or 33.5% of 200 schools require students to have health care coverage. 194 or 97% of the 200 schools offer school-sponsored plans. 86 or 44.3% of the 194 schools who offer school-sponsored healthcare plans cover elective abortions. 38 or 44% of the 86 plans that cover elective abortions automatically enroll their students in an abortion healthcare plan. 66 or 33% of the 200 schools automatically enroll their students in their school-sponsored healthcare plan on students' accounts. 38 or 57% of the 66 plans automatically enroll their students in a school-sponsored plan that covers elective abortion. So we've got taxpayer dollars going to that. You didn't know this, though, because you're an idiot. You're not playing dumb, Shirley. I do realize that. Representative Fox, Republican, North Carolina, sent a letter to Ferret-Face Arne Duncan asking him about apparent violations to the Hyde Amendment, which prohibits tax dollars for elective abortions. As you can see from the letter, the Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, and his staff were either playing dumb or had not a clue about this. They don't collect any information as to whether universities are using taxpayer dollars to subsidize healthcare plans that cover elective abortions. If universities are doing this, and some are, this is in violation of the Hyde Amendment. So much for that. I eagerly await your response, Shirley. It's obvious you are angry and threw this video up quickly. You should probably do a little more research next time. Then you won't look like an idiot. Oh, and I hope I didn't hurt your feelings to the point where you'd remove your video or make it private. We'd all hate that. Have a nice day, Shirley. And don't thank me now for correcting you.